Hey everyone! Welcome to Update X24H, your go-to channel for the latest news, hottest dramas, breaking stories, and all the buzz from the world of entertainment. We're here to keep you updated, entertained, and always in the loop. Hit that subscribe button and join our growing family, because here at Update X24H, we bring you the news that matters, the drama you love, and the stories you can't miss. Thanks for being part of our community. Let's stay connected, stay updated, and keep the good vibes rolling. Could this be the moment we've all been waiting for? A quiet glance, a soft smile, and one unforgettable sentence. Wu Lei may have just said what fans have been dying to hear for years. And the entire fandom? Exploding. Because what he revealed wasn't just about friendship. It was something deeper. Something real. Stay with us, because what we uncovered will make you believe in love stories again. It began with a moment so quiet, so unassuming that most people would have missed it, unless they were paying attention. The setting was relaxed. The end of a successful filming project. A wrap-up celebration where cast and crew gathered to share laughter, stories, and the satisfaction of a job well done. Cameras floated gently across the room, capturing cheerful conversations and toasts of gratitude. But amidst the energy and celebration, there was a single fleeting exchange that would go on to stir hearts across the internet. Wu Lei, known for his composed and thoughtful nature, leaned in toward Zhao Lusi. It was subtle, no dramatic gestures, no exaggerated smiles. He said something to her in a voice so low the microphones didn't catch it. But what the microphones missed, her expression revealed. Zhao Lusi's eyes widened with a kind of surprise that didn't look rehearsed. Her lips parted slightly as though caught off guard, and then without a word, she brought her hands up to cover her face. It wasn't embarrassment in the usual sense. It was something softer, more tender, like a person hearing a secret she'd long suspected, but never dared to believe out loud. The atmosphere didn't change for anyone else in the room, but for fans watching the clip frame by frame, it was a turning point. A confession without words, a feeling captured in silence. What struck viewers most wasn't just Lucy's reaction, but the way Wu Lei looked at her after. Calm, steady, almost certain. He didn't look away, nor did he laugh as if it were a joke. Instead, he held that space for her, patiently, quietly, like someone who understood the weight of what he just shared. It wasn't a public declaration. There were no grand speeches or hand-holding moments for the cameras. And yet, in that small pocket of stillness, something profoundly intimate passed between them. It felt deeply personal, as though the audience had accidentally witnessed a page being turned in a story written only for two. Perhaps it was nothing. Perhaps it was everything. But for fans who have followed their journey, their chemistry on screen, their shared laughter off screen, and their gentle, almost protective way of being around each other, this moment confirmed a truth they had long hoped to see. Not because of any single action, but because of the emotion that spilled through the silence. Some stories aren't told in headlines or interviews. They unfold in glances, in unspoken exchanges, in quiet moments between noise. This was one of them. And for those paying attention, it felt like the beginning of something we're only just beginning to understand. Sometimes it's not what someone says, it's how they say it that lingers. That was exactly the case during a recent interview with Wu Lei. The setting was casual, the kind of media sit-down where stars answer light-hearted questions between promotional clips. But when the interviewer asked Wu Lei a simple, seemingly harmless question, "Who do you feel emotionally closest to these days?" the atmosphere shifted. He didn't answer right away. There was a pause, not the awkward kind, but a thoughtful one. His eyes flickered, as though searching through a memory he wasn't quite ready to say aloud. And then, with a slight smile that held more truth than he probably intended to share, he replied, "There's someone I admire deeply. She's full of light, always surprising me. She's brave and she's kind." He didn't say her name. He didn't need to, because the words carried weight. Not the kind of generic praise celebrities often give each other out of politeness, but something personal, intimate. There was affection layered beneath every syllable, a softness in the way he described her, as if just thinking about her brought him peace. And that peace, that admiration, felt real. For many fans watching, that moment hit like a quiet confession. It wasn't direct, but it didn't have to be. What lingered wasn't just what Wu Lei said, But how he chose to say it, with restraint, with care, with something unspoken tucked between his words. In a world where most celebrity interviews are rehearsed, filtered, and carefully curated, this moment stood out like a whisper that echoed far beyond the studio walls. Within hours, social media lit up. Screenshots of the quote began circulating across platforms, side by side with clips of him and Zhao Lusi together. Fan forums erupted into conversations, analyzing not just his answer, but the glint in his eyes when he gave it. Some fans cried. Others smiled in disbelief. But all of them felt the same quiet tremor. A ripple of emotion that comes when someone speaks from the heart. And while he never confirmed who he was talking about, the fandom didn't hesitate. It was as if every past interaction between him and Zhao Lusi had suddenly clicked into place. The playful banter, the subtle glances, the quiet support. All of it now felt like pieces of a story that had always been there, just waiting for a voice. In a world that often demands loud declarations, Wu Lei chose a different path. His words were gentle, measured, but filled with meaning. And sometimes it's those quiet moments that reveal the most. Where love doesn't need to be shouted, because it's already understood. That interview may have only lasted a few minutes, but its impact still lingers. For many, it wasn't just a passing quote. It was the moment everything changed. Started with something small, something almost invisible. A bracelet, simple, black, unbranded, and minimal in design. It didn't scream for attention. It wasn't a luxury label. But for those who noticed it, the bracelet held a quiet weight. A quiet whisper of something shared between two people who never said anything aloud. Wu Lei was the first to be seen with it. In a casual photo posted to his social media, his wrist bore the delicate thread. A black string bracelet tied modestly, with no tags or embellishments. The caption read, "For strength and clarity," short and vague enough to pass unnoticed by most. But those who knew him, those who followed him closely, felt there was something unusually personal about the way he presented it. There was intent in the angle of the photo, in the way his hand rested casually, just enough to ensure the bracelet was visible. Then came Zhao Lusi. A few hours later, a post appeared on her own page. No announcement, no tagging, just a quiet picture, her hand resting beside a book, the same style of bracelet wrapped delicately around her wrist. Her caption read, "For someone who anchors me." It wasn't just the visual similarity of the bracelets that struck fans. It was the subtle way their meanings seemed to respond to each other. His for strength, hers for stability. As if they weren't just accessories but quiet declarations. A conversation spoken in silence. For their followers, this wasn't coincidence. It was confirmation, or at least the strongest suggestion yet of a connection deeper than friendship. The timing, the symmetry, the emotional tone of their captions. It all felt too aligned, too intimate to dismiss. Fans began piecing together the clues, rewatching videos, scrolling back through older posts, wondering if the signs had always been there, quietly waiting to be seen. What made this so powerful wasn't the bracelets themselves. It was the fact that such a small gesture could hold such deep emotional weight. In a world where celebrities often wear borrowed jewelry worth thousands of dollars, here were two public figures sharing something understated, almost invisible, yet somehow more meaningful than any red carpet statement. And then, almost as if to deepen the mystery, Wu Lei appeared in a live stream, reading fan questions aloud. One stood out. "Will you ever tell her?" He smiled, looked down for a moment and said softly, "She already feels it." That was all. That line, quiet, unrehearsed, gently spoken, sent fans into a frenzy. Combined with the bracelet, it felt like a message meant for someone specific, someone he didn't need to name. These weren't just accessories anymore. They had become symbols. Symbols of something unspoken yet undeniably present. Not confirmed. Not denied. Just there, like the best kind of love stories, hidden in plain sight, waiting to be felt rather than explained. A few weeks later, Zhao Lusi was seen at the airport, wearing an oversized hoodie, the exact same one Wu Lei had worn in a prior vlog. Coincidence? Or connection? The sleeves were long on her. She tugged at them nervously while boarding a flight, the same private domestic route Wu Lei was rumored to be on. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't staged. It was quiet, subtle, and undeniably intimate. Wu Lei once shared in a podcast-style interview, "Peace isn't a place. It's a person. Someone whose silence makes you feel safe. Days later, Zhao Lusi posted, "If I ever find peace, I hope he has kind eyes." One sentence each. No names. No tags. But everything about it felt like code. Code meant for one another, and for fans who are paying close attention. On set, staff revealed Wu Lei often prepared Zhao Lusi's favorite snacks before scenes. He remembered the details. What drink she liked. When she got cold. And in one clip when she shivered slightly. He wrapped her in his coat without saying a word. That wasn't acting. That was care. Recently, both Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi joined a charity art event. They submitted anonymous paintings. But fans noticed two nearly identical styles. A small light within a field of darkness titled simply, "You Are My Calm." It wasn't signed, but fans connected the dots through brushstrokes, color palettes, and themes. Could it be their secret way of saying what they can't say aloud? Microphone Scene 8. Soft launch or slow reveal. In the last few months we've seen matching captions, matching accessories, subtle physical closeness, unmistakable emotional signals. This doesn't look like PR. This doesn't feel like marketing. This feels like something growing quietly, sincerely, and beautifully. So, did Wu Lei really confess? Maybe not in the way we expect, with cameras flashing and headlines exploding, but in glimpses, in gestures, and in gentle truths. He may have already said everything that matters. And Zhao Lusi? Maybe she's been answering him all along. Through smiles, through stillness, and through words only he can understand. What do you think? Is this the start of something real? Or just a beautiful coincidence waiting to blossom into love? Let us know in the comments. We read every word. And if you're just as intrigued, inspired, and invested as we are, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a moment of this unfolding story. Speech Balloon, share this video with fellow shippers, and follow Update X24H for more heart-stirring updates, emotional reveals, and the real stories behind your favorite stars. Thank you for being here. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and remember, sometimes the quietest love is the most powerful one.